video and put my microphone turned on. So, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh. This is Native Nomads, and I switched things around today. We're going to do things slightly different. I hope you like the different look. Just trying something new. But I have a few things that Subaru needs to hear, and I'm hoping that they do. So before we get started today, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video and every video you will see here on the channel. That is Adventure Rig Shop. AdventureRigShop.com is where you can get pretty much every single thing that you're after for your Subaru Outback Wilderness. Use the code NOMAD at checkout to save yourself 5%. All right, so all the promotional stuff's out of the way. And I want to open up to my field notes here because I've been driving the new 2024 Subaru Outback Wilderness for about, I don't know, a week. It's got about 1,000 miles on it already. We did go all the way up to Cleveland to try to shoot the Aurora Borealis. That was an epic fail, so I got nothing for you there. But that said, I've been writing things down as I'm driving because the Subaru Outback Wilderness, the 2024, is such a great car. And there are so many great things about the car, but there are those small oversights that I can't imagine are intentional. I would have to believe that there's a purpose behind them. Whatever that purpose is, I don't know. Subaru does not have any relationship with me whatsoever. They do not know, probably don't even know who I am, which is fine. But we want Subaru to change these things. I've talked to tons of Outback Wilderness owners, and it's kind of a common thread. We all have the same 5 or 6 gripes about the car, because it's not that they can't do it, it's that they choose not to for one reason or another, and we never find out what that reason is. Yes, this video is kind of complainy. I'm kind of complaining, but the only way for us to get things to change with the Subaru Outback Wilderness and the things that we want, which could change in the 2025, and we'll get to a whole thing I got on the 2025, and I got something special for the Subaru Outback or Subaru enthusiasts in general. I think at the end of this video we'll kind of talk through that, but it's for all those people that have just been diehard through and through Subaru owners for a long time. And like I said, we'll get to that at the end. But there's things that just are off. And you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about as I talk about them. So I kind of want to start with one that I would assume not many people talk about, but everybody knows. And the first thing is the cameras. Let me scratch that out real quick. The cameras. They are of such poor quality. And in the 2025, I was expecting that there might be an upgrade to the camera. I don't know why. Nobody had really talked about it, but I was just hoping that there's going to be an upgrade to these absolutely deplorable cameras, because at night they're useless. The cameras at night are pretty much useless. And if you don't have that problem with your Outback Wilderness, or you just don't notice it, I don't know how you don't notice it, but my assumption is that you do, and maybe you just don't think about it. But the cameras have got to be like 720p. And I know Subaru has the ability to put, it doesn't have to be an 8K camera, okay? Let's just be clear. I'm not asking for an 8K camera. I am just asking that for a camera that has better resolution, especially in low light situations. Because when you're backing into a parking spot, or you're doing anything, when your camera pops on and it is dark out, you can't see. They're grainy. They're bad in the daytime. They're bad when they're fresh after a car wash in the middle of the day. They're still not that good. So if you just take the light away, they become nearly useless. And it's just one of those small things that bothers me. It's bothered me about my 22. It's bothering me about the 24. I hope to God on everything that Subaru, you put good cameras in the 2025. All line, every single Subaru that you have, all of them should have an upgraded camera system, because it's just an oversight. and I don't want to call you cheap because that's not fair. I'm sure you have a bunch of these, and I'm sure you get them for a really good deal, and you buy thousands and thousands of them at a time, but they're not good. They're just not good. And I mean, the cars aren't cheap. Let's be honest. You know, you're paying. Some people are paying 40. Some people are paying 44 for the Outback Wilderness. That's the only one I can really speak on, and that's not cheap. And if you're buying, you can. All I'm saying is you can put new cameras in it. So in 2025, I'm hopeful that Subaru will just listen to the things that people say and just put a better camera system inside the Outback Wilderness, and every single Subaru that you have, because I know that you can get them. It's just a matter of you doing it. All right, the next thing. I'm trying to get jacked up today. I'm tired. I had a really early morning workout. It wasn't early. It was like 10 a.m. But for me to be in the garage working out by 10 a.m. is early because I just got things going on. I get busy. But so I'll just drink some more coffee. We'll get as gassed up as we possibly can, and we're going to talk about these problems. And also, you're going to have to share this video. You're going to have to comment on it. You're going to have to like it. If you want, if we want any type of change for these small, silly items that we all have problems with, we have to get this video to Subaru somehow. I don't know how, but hopefully you do, and hopefully you can help us get there. And the next thing, an AC outlet in the car. So just hold on. Here's the thing. Just about every car these days has a 110 volt AC outlet inside the car. Maybe that's a thing they're going to do for 2025. And I'm sure the design and everything's already laid out for 2025, so maybe this just won't happen. But you have the ability to put an AC outlet inside the car, whether that's in the hatch air. It's going to have to be put it in the back hatch where everybody else puts their AC outlets for people, especially in the wilderness trim. Because I'm not saying that regular Outback and Crosstrek and Forester people don't use their vehicles like the wilderness people, but the wilderness edition is specifically designed for these things. And to not have a 110 volt AC outlet inside the vehicle, it's just astonishing. It blows my mind. It's something that you can do. It's not going to be hard to do. It's just a matter of doing it. Like you just got to do it. You have space to do it. You can do it. I know you can do it. I can do it myself if I want to do it myself. But again, when you're spending a pretty significant amount of money on a brand new vehicle, you would like those modern creature comforts. And I don't even think that's a creature comfort. It's just for people who use their cars and they go out places and they do things. That 110 outlet is absolutely unbeatable. Like I used them in all of my cars all of the time, whether that's charging batteries. And I know we have power stations. I get all of that. But even to charge a smaller power station that only pulls a couple hundred watts, you should be able to do that off of the 110 outlet inside the car. Again, I get it. We can grab an inverter. We can plug it into the cigarette lighter and we can run a 500 watt inverter off the cigarette lighter. All that's fine. But that's another thing, a dongle, an attachment. You have all this stuff everywhere, and I don't want that. I don't want to have to do that. When we should just have an AT or an AC outlet inside the car. So, if anybody has that gripe, please leave that in the comments, because that is one. Sorry, I kicked the camera. That is one that bothers me. It really bothers me. Yeah, I just don't understand it. So I'm going to cross that off the list. But just a 110 AC outlet, put that in there for us, Subaru. We would be ever so thankful for that. Okay, so here's one I know every single person is annoyed by. And again, this is probably by design from Subaru. And what I was talking about with my wife yesterday is there's probably a flash or a tune that you can do to the Outback Wilderness and go in and control all of these things. But the auto start and stop feature, and then the AVH, so the auto vehicle hold button, like that mode when you can put it in auto vehicle hold and you press your brake at a stoplight and it just holds the car there until you press the gas. It's just that concept of having to turn the AVH hold on every single time you get into the vehicle. Now, that could probably be done with a software update, where you could just run a software update to make it so you press AVH hold, it holds the car there. You don't have to turn it on every single time you get in the car, because that's much different than the auto start and stop feature, which is super annoying, but it's always right there. So it's just you start the car and you turn it off. I know that Subaru has to achieve their gas mileage numbers and their EPA ratings, and that's why they do it. I get it, but I get the same gas mileage that I would get if I didn't use that auto start stop feature, or if I did use it. I get the same amount of gas mileage. And I may notice a difference in the amount of gallons of gas that I've saved over like 10 years, but we're talking the most minute amount of difference by using the auto stop start feature. You're not going to notice it in a tank of gas. We're talking tenths of a gallon of gas. You're never going to notice that. So from an emissions perspective, I understand stops the car while it's idling and you're sitting at a stoplight. I get all of that. But the problem with that, and I would love to know if you guys have the same problem. I always turn it off in my 24. I left it on for a while in my 22 because I was just trying to see, like, how much gas I would actually save. But when that restarts, it sounds like my motor is going to fall out of the car. It cannot be good for the starter or the motor or the transmission or any of the vital components of your vehicle to have your car always turning off and turning back on. It's clunky. It's not good. And there's got to be a way in the software update that you can just turn it off and leave it off. That will probably never happen. So let's just put that out there. That will probably never change. We will be dealing with the auto start and stop feature in these Subarus probably until the end of time. So I'm just complaining to complain just because it's so frustrating that you can't just turn it off and keep it off. But the auto vehicle hold, that is super silly. All right, so this one's new. This is not one that I noticed before in my 22, and it is pretty important that you guys comment on this one because I want to know if it's just me or if maybe I have like something defective inside the car. But around 80 or 85 miles an hour, it feels like the car is hunting for gears. It's kind of jumpy. It just doesn't stick in a gear and go. It kind of like hunts around between like 80 and 85 miles an hour. Now, this is happening before I put any wheels and tires on. So this was like bone stock, nothing attached to it, completely. My light's flickering on me. That's not good. Completely stock. So I don't know if that's maybe this car in particular, or if this is something you guys have noticed. Maybe you're noticing it at a different mile an hour. But whenever I am just cruising down the highway and I'm between 80 and 85 miles an hour, I feel like the car, it like loses its power and then it regains its power and it's hunting for whatever gear it is supposed to be in, which is really mind-blowing to me because 80, 85 miles an hour is a pretty normal travel speed for most people. And I know the car had to have been tested at that speed. So I'm just wondering if that is a specific issue with my car alone, or if you've noticed that your Outback or Outback Wilderness kind of cruises down the highway around 80, 85, and it just feels like clunky almost. Like it's jumping around a little. It's not smooth. Like it's smooth all the way through all the gears, all the way up until that speed. But once I get to that speed, something seems to happen. And I'm not sure if the computer's just having a hard time figuring out where it needs to be. But if you've had that problem, let me know because it may be something specific with my vehicle. But test it. Get out on the highway and just cruise around between 80 and 85 and see how it reacts. Maybe you just never noticed it, but it was extremely noticeable. Like it was dropping power and then gaining power, and it just did not feel right. So I'm hoping that is just an issue with mine specifically, but Subaru, if that is an issue like vehicle wide or with the transmission or with the computer system, that is definitely something that needs to be taken a look at, because a brand new car should never, a brand new unmodified car should never, ever, ever hunt for a gear. It is specifically designed the way it is set up, and it should never be guessing which gear it should be in going cruising down the highway at 80 or 85. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But if you have any issues with that, please leave those in the comments. I would love to know. It would help me greatly because it kind of stresses me out when I'm cruising down the highway and that happens. All right, last thing. And this is for the enthusiasts, okay? I cannot consider myself a Subaru enthusiast, although I do love my Outback Wilderness. I loved my 22 Outback Wilderness. If the 25 does not get annihilated in the redesign. I'm sure I will be in a 25. I do. This car is probably one of the most perfect cars, minus its little intricacies, those little details that I feel like they missed or they just didn't think they needed to pay attention to. But for the enthusiasts out there, I've been watching ever since I got the 22, which was in 22, obviously. And I have been watching Subaru take cars away. I've been watching them try to come back out with something that may be comparable, but it's not what the enthusiasts want. And I know you can't base your vehicle brand around a bunch of enthusiasts because that's not the bulk of the people that drive your cars. I know the decisions that are made to make these design changes or remove manual transmissions and all of these things that are done backed by analytics. They're backed by data, economical data generally. How many cars do we sell of this, and what steps does it take for us to continue to manufacture cars when we have, this one transmission that's different from all the others, or this one motor that's different from all the others? I'm sure it creates kinks in the chain and it makes them less efficient as a vehicle brand. But at the end of the day, the enthusiasts, the diehard Subaru people, I've seen them time and time again over the last couple of years just get destroyed. Like their hopes are just being dashed. Like, I would say the one thing that the Jeep brand is really good at is listening to their client base and giving them what they're asking for, which is really awesome. So for like the Jeep people, that is something that Jeep does very well, is they listen and then they deliver. I know that most people who drive Subarus don't drive them for the reasons that you or myself drive them for, and I get that. But there are the group of enthusiasts that have basically been forgotten. And it sucks to see because even though I'm not an enthusiast, I do love the old Imprezas and the old WRXs and the old STIs and the manual transmissions. I love that stuff. And I almost bought a STI, Subaru WRX STI, before I bought the first Outback Wilderness, just because it's like a fun, fast, quick little car that you can build out. You can make it faster. You can have fun with it. It's not overly expensive, but now that vehicle is gone, and maybe they'll never bring it back, or maybe they will, but it seems like I've just watched Subaru destroy these enthusiasts over and over again. And when the new Forester came out, I was just like, golly, it's just not that attractive. I mean, I really don't like it. So I knew at that point I had to get the 24 Outback Wilderness, because who knows what 25 is going to bring. And I hope that it doesn't take the same shape, which it probably will, and to some extent, of the new 25 Forester. But yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad for the enthusiasts that really give a crap about what Subaru does and have built like this following and this there's like this culture behind like SubiFest and all of this stuff. But I feel like all of that kind of doesn't really matter, because they're just kind of going for what sells the most. And I get it. It's a business, but businesses are built upon the backs of the consumer. So keeping that in mind, Subaru may be helpful, may not. You may not care. Maybe you guys don't care about this at all, but I've watched it. I know you've seen it, and it's a tragedy to watch people who genuinely give a crap about a car brand get nothing that they want and everything that they don't, even though they usually warm up and come around to the idea. But that's it. So those are my 5 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that I have for Subaru. And I hope that Subaru hears this. I hope that they listen, just because it's small things that can make your product better. It's never going to be perfect. I think us as consumers and you as an automaker understand that, but you can get a lot closer by doing a few small things and just making people happier. And I know a lot of people talk about the screen. Yeah, it's glitchy. It's not perfect. I didn't want to bring that up because it's just, I don't know if that's ever going to change. But at the end of the day, Subaru, that's another item. So That's it. That's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe to the channel so you can come along for more adventures. Like the video so it reaches more people. Share it with somebody if you think this information was relevant, and I will see you on the next one.